Welcome back to Live Drawing with Octopolis. I'm Brian Miller, and today we're going to have a bunch of fun painting Boba Fett, but not just any Boba Fett. It's a very special version of Boba Fett. You can tell he's sort of like an ancient warrior version of Boba Fett here. So we're going to dive in. We're going to start with some black paint and just start working in some of his shadow areas and just kind of lay out the light and dark values and get him going. So should be fun. Should be a nice one. I debated whether or not to use brush pen or black paint on his shadows, and kind of thought the black paint seemed like the way to go today, since this is going to be a full color one. So it should make him look pretty nice, we hope. That just means I'll probably have to change my water out between the gray and the color, but that'll be okay too. So thanks for watching today, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name's Brian Miller. I'm an artist. I work for lots of fun things like Star Wars and X-Files and Doctor Who and The Simpsons and DC Comics, just all sorts of fun stuff. So I appreciate you tuning in and watching today, whether you're watching me on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. Thanks for hanging out. And if you want to chat in real time, come join us on Twitch. It's twitch.com/Octopolis. And we can interact in real time. But wherever you're listening or watching from, I appreciate you and thank you for joining us today. So we'll just dive right in. I'll start roughing in some of the shadow areas here on Boba Fett. And we'll just start to build up some of these light dark values on him. Always like to get just start out really loose and rough and kind of create the structure of these characters. So I did like some color coding with the pencil sketch too, which is something I started recently when I did that big Jim and the Holograms sketch commission, and that worked out really well. So I'm going to try it again here, see if it helps things on this sketch as well. I think when the sketches are full of color, it definitely makes it a little easier. It looks like we've got some regulars joining us. Good to see you, Evan. Good to see you, Quench Press. Hope you two are doing well. Thanks for joining today. Good to see you both. Hope your week is going well. Let me know what you guys are up to. And Evan, thanks for volunteering to be a moderator on the Facebook group. Really appreciate you. Thanks for that. I think we're going to have, they just changed our Facebook group from private to public. And I had some people that are like, well, why'd you do that? I'm like, I didn't do it. Facebook did it. They just sent me a notice, and not even a notice saying they were going to do it, a notice saying we've already done it. So that means that just anybody can join our group now. And so we have to have a lot more moderation. I'm hoping it'll only be bad for the first month or so, and then things will settle down. But it was definitely a surprise for me as well. So I appreciate Evan and everyone else who's stepped up to help with moderation. And most people don't want to break the rules. They just don't think about it, or they don't pay attention to it. And so I've got some really nice responses from people saying that, ours is maybe one of the few Facebook groups that they still visit on a regular basis, because we do stay on topic and we do try to restrict spam and everything. So I think it makes a difference. And I think most people want groups that are beneficial, and they want to feel like their voices are being heard. So a little moderation is a good thing. I know I've had groups that I belong to that maybe like deleted a post or something, and they didn't say why, and I didn't know what I did wrong or whatever. So it's nice when you can have some set rules and just be like, okay, this is what our rules are, and this is the rule that you broke, and we're not banning you or anything yet. We're just telling you got to play by the rules if you want to be here. But let me know what you guys are up to. Let me know how things are going. I'm having a pretty productive week so far. So getting a lot of projects moving forward in various ways. So that's been really good. Hopefully today and tomorrow will follow suit, because I feel like a lot of things have been running behind this year, so it's nice to have a week where a lot of things are getting accomplished. I don't know if you're like me, if you get like a big workload or not, but it's kind of how I feel sometimes. I feel like, things will be not overwhelming, I guess, to a certain extent, but mostly just, trying to keep up with sort of like all the demands. Evan says, going on a mini vacay tomorrow. Ooh, that sounds exciting. That sounds really exciting. Are you guys, you don't have to say it, but is this like something where you're traveling out of state or staying in state or going somewhere special? All right, so just roughing in some of this. Heading to the casino. Oh, there you go. Now, because I'm not much of a casino guy, you got to tell me, when you guys go, is it for the gambling? Is it for the restaurants? Is it for the shopping? Is it for some sort of live entertainment? All of the above? I don't know. You'll have to educate me. I'm sure you guys haven't guessed this, but I don't get out much. If it wasn't for my wife, Christy, making me get out of the house, I'm sure I would just be here making art and videos and stuff like 24/7. Evan says it's just a couple of hours away. Oh, cool. That sounds exciting. Well, at least it's like far enough away to feel like you're doing something, but not so far away that like it feels like you're losing like a whole day just getting there or something. You know what I'm saying? I know when we lived in Missouri, Christy's parents are at Lake of the Ozarks, and I kind of felt that way about that. It was like, 3-ish hours away. It was just far enough that you really felt like you were getting away from everything for the weekend or whatever. But at the same time, it wasn't so far that it really felt like work or a hassle to do it. So those things are kind of nice when you have that sort of proximity to something like that where you can just go and have a little mini escape. That's nice. Now, is that going to be you and your wife or the whole family? It's been kind of weird here in Arizona because so many people are getting vaccinated now. I heard it's weird. Our state is so backwards in some areas, but when it comes to vaccination, I guess we're ahead of the nation right now. And so a lot of people are saying, I want to get out. I want to do stuff. I want to do this. So we'll see how all that rolls out over the next couple of weeks. Evan says, my wife follows a guy on YouTube, and he will be at our favorite casino this weekend. Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to go play and watch him. Great. Is he like a musician, stand-up comedy? What does he do? And Evan cheered 5 bits. Thank you so much, Evan. Appreciate it. And Evan also redeemed a hydrate. Cheers to you. Quinch must be in a meeting. He's here, but he's quiet. Don't forget, everybody, Quinch Press is going to be live with me this weekend. We are doing a Tiki Tuesday weekend edition, for lack of a better word for it. He's going to be mixing up some sweet, awesome tropical tiki cocktails and telling us about the special bottles that he's using and the recipes. With an emphasis on cocktails you can make at home for yourself and for your friends. So there won't be very few exotic cocktails. I think the way Quinch Press phrased it is that, he wants to use items that anybody can get at Total Wine. So nothing that you shouldn't be able to acquire. which is fun because I know when I first started getting into tiki culture, you would get a hold of some certain recipes and you'd be like, not only do I not know what that ingredient is, I have no idea where to get it. And sometimes even the liquor stores wouldn't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but like, it'll come to me in just a second. One of them was, some really strange ingredient, and you had to literally go to like a grocery store that only catered in like groceries from that country to find the ingredient. So hopefully nothing like that. It should be all stuff you can get at Total Wine. Evan says it's going to be just me and the wife. Oh, I hope you guys have a blast. Quint says I'll probably make at least one unusual cocktail off stream though. Well, there you go, guys. Super secret off stream stuff. But no, it should be a really good time. We're going to be live from our tropical patio here at the Octopolis Studios, so aka my house. So it should be really fun. We hope to see everybody this weekend. That's going to be we'll start just about 6:30 p.m. Arizona time. I say Arizona time because we don't do daylight savings time here, so you can use your favorite phone app or whatever to see what time that is for you, because it will vary. But we do hope to see everybody this weekend because it's going to be a lot of fun and something totally new and totally different for us here. And we want you to be part of it, right? We're doing it all for you, so don't miss it. Evan says the guy is from YouTube and he plays games, and I don't know why she likes it, but want to support her since she supports me in all my hobbies. Oh, good. So when you say he plays games on YouTube, you mean almost like here on Twitch where people play video games and stuff like that, and you can watch them and support them? And so is he going to be doing like a live game tournament type thing, or is he just making like an appearance? And isn't it strange how we connect with different personalities online, I mean, maybe you listen to a podcast or you have a favorite YouTube channel or whatever it is, and you listen to that person and you see that person and you hear their stories and you relate to their daily life, and you may not have ever met them in person, but you feel like a kinship with them, and I think that's really cool. I think it's really special to see these new kind of relationships happening. Evan says we're back on the same time as you. I know, that's why Christy and I quit even using Pacific and Mountain Time, because it's just too confusing for people. So we've just now switched everything to Arizona time. But yeah, half the year we're lined up with the West Coast and half the year we're lined up with the Mountain Time zone. So, but our time never changes. So that's what makes it confusing for people who are not from Arizona, is that it's our time never changes. We have all the daylight we need, so we're not looking to save any daylight here, because it can be like in the summertime, the sun could be up at 5 a.m. and we could already be like well over 100 degrees by like 6 a.m., so we don't need an extra hour of daylight here. No, thank you. We've got plenty. Well, hopefully, I'm just at the early stages of this, just roughing in some shadows, but hopefully you can start to see how this guy is going to take shape, and we're going to have the big Mandalorian logo up here for Boba Fett. And he's got on his really cool armor. I keep wanting to call this guy like Shogun Warrior Boba Fett. I know that's not the right name, but all I can think about is like the Shogun Warrior toys and stuff I had when I was a kid, and how you could totally see him fitting into that world, especially with like the rocket blaster on his wrist, I mean, I'd kind of pay to see a cartoon of that, like Boba Fett versus the old like Shogun warriors and stuff. Evan says, this guy plays slots at different casinos, and he is allowed to film all the slots that he plays. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I get it. So then part of his appeal on YouTube is that he's also visiting different casinos. Is that correct? And so it's like partially like a tour or like background of the casino and partially him playing. And then I guess, does he have like some super awesome slot techniques and stuff like that people get hyped up about? I don't know anything about slots, but one of the people that Christy plays tennis with, one of her friends' husbands was an avid slot player and did really, really well. Like, you know, he had like VIP status at several casinos and stuff. So it's no joke, man. It's no joke. Quinchpress says, as a matter of fact, I'd be happy to give some daylight away. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, if the sun would come up an hour later and go down an hour sooner in the summer, I'd be fine with that. There was actually a really interesting, well, for those of us that live in the desert Southwest, article about water usage out here and how these sort of like heat islands in the summer, because we have like not enough parks and not enough greenery and stuff, and how it can really affect, I think they were saying as much as like 7 to 10 degrees warmer overnight, you know, if you're in an area without parks or greenery, versus if you're in like a neighborhood that does have parks and greenery. So that's you know, when it's already like 93 degrees at night in July, you don't want it to be an extra 7 or 10 degrees warmer. That's plenty. So part of that would also be less sunlight, because, you know, that sun, it just absorbs into those non-green spaces all day long, and then it just cooks the city all night, or the valley, I should say. Evan says Stan Sakai is making a new cover with koi on it for Usagi Yojimbo, and it looks amazing. Oh, cool. I haven't seen that one yet, but who knows if it'll come my way or not. I hope it does. I gotta tell you guys, I really love working on Usagi Yojimbo with Stan Sakai. My good friend Tom Luth was the colorist on that book for, I don't know, 20 years maybe not that long. But he was also famous for coloring Sergio Aragone's comics. Really great colorist, and I was kind of shocked when I heard he was retiring, but I mean, also good for him, because a lot of people in our business don't get a chance to retire. You just have to work until you can't work anymore, until you die or something like that. So I'm glad that he was, you know, actually able to retire, and I was very pleased and thankful that he threw mine and Christy's name out there as you know, people who might be good replacements for him on that title. And it's been so much fun. Love Stan Sakai, love the book, really having fun with it. I hope it shows. Like, I'm a big believer that when you have joy in your work, it comes through and people can see it, and I hope it shows, because I really, really am having fun with it. And it's been such a blast and such an amazing experience so far. All right, I'm going to do just a couple little like gray wash areas on here just to get some tones going. Oh, looks like Monique jumped on. Hey, Monique, good to see you. Hello, Monique. Evan says, yeah, Stan does a group poll where people put in a set amount. He plays the pot. Okay, sorry. I thought we were still talking on Stan Sakai. This is the YouTube guy. He does a group pool where people put in a set amount. He plays the pot, and if he wins, you win. But if he loses, you lose. It's all fun because there's a meet and greet as well. Well, that does sound really cool. That sounds, you know, like it's more like you're meeting and hanging out with a celebrity of some sort or personality And I can definitely see the appeal of that for sure. So that's really cool. I hope you guys have a blast. I hope that this guy lives up to your wife's expectations, because I know when you follow someone online and then you meet them in real life, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. I think the biggest thing is people just expect you to be as like energetic and animated as you are on your YouTube channel or whatever, and you can't be that way 24 hours a day. I mean, unless you're on some crazy drugs or something, right? And Dana knows, Quench Press knows, he's been at Comic-Cons with me when, a certain time of day your energy's running low and you're just kind of like, whoa, and you have to like try to pep yourself back up. Well, I'm glad to see Quench and Monique here, and Evan. And I know, I think all of you are subscribers here, and a couple of you are following me or joining me on Patreon too. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys. I don't say it enough, but I really do feel like through this pandemic, my relationships with fans and followers and collectors have become more substantial, and I've got to know you guys so much better and feel like you're really part of my friends and family now, and just want to say thank you. It's been a year of growth personally and professionally, and you guys are a big part of it, so thank you. And I'm still learning. I make all the mistakes. You guys know that. So never hesitate to remind me of how I can do better. Let me know what kind of stuff you like to see, all that. Because I'm here for you guys. Quenchper says, yeah, I follow this Octopolis guy online. Meeting him in person is something else. Hey, I just think about the years that I got to go to Epcot Festival of the Arts, and when you're there, like, whatever it is, 10 hours or something, you figure that some of the interactions that I have with fans are probably better than others, because there's certain times if it's really busy and you're all hyped up and the crowds are flowing and you're full of energy, and other times you've been standing there all day and you might be low on energy and need a break, and it's difficult. You try to make every experience personal, but I know that sometimes as humans we fail. I know I certainly have my share of failing in that regard. Christy will notice it when I get tired at like Comic-Con events and stuff. I can get a little snappy with people. I kind of have a low tolerance for what's the right word? Maybe obnoxiousness is what it is, like I think it's people who are being a little on the obnoxious side to creators, not just me, but like in general. Especially at Comic-Cons, you'll get those kind of like, you get, if you've been to a Comic-Con, you know what I'm talking about. The type of people that will sometimes are trying to rile up, whether it's fans or pros or whatever. I kind of have a low tolerance for that kind of stuff, and I try to learn to just spot those situations and walk away and be like, okay, I'm gonna take a break. But sometimes I don't see it coming, and Christy might have to grab my shoulder or something and like, remind me. So my goal here is going to be to just sort of like lay down some of the light and shadow on Boba Fett with like the blacks and the grays, and then I'll grab the color and we'll start working in some color over this. Evan says, my wife is all into it. She even bought some merch and only wears it when she plays. Oh, that's really cool. So it's kind of almost like an insider club of people, like if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah, I get that. Monique says, I have a comment question. Oh, Monique says, I have a comment question, Brian. I collect and know a little bit about collecting, but not a lot about some things I collect. I'm a little confused with comic variants. Like, I understand the different covers, but what exactly is the purpose of a blank variant? Well, the blank variant exists so you can get a sketch on it. I've only done a few on the channel. I'll do some Star Wars sketch covers sometimes, but that's why those exist, so that you can take it to your favorite artist, or if you're really lucky, maybe the artist who worked on that comic, and have them draw something on the cover for you. And it's also really good for artists. Now, I could be wrong about this part, but I think you have to tell me if I'm wrong, but Marty Nodell was the creator of the Green Lantern, and all or most of his original artwork was lost in a DC warehouse fire. And so when he got into his older years, he had no original artwork to sell. He had really no way to make a living. And you have to remember, he also created the Pillsbury Doughboy, not for DC obviously, but as part of his career. So I mean, he's a really famous artist, but he, it's everything like it is now. It's work for hire, and he didn't own any of it, and he had no money to live on in his retirement years. And so I believe it was Todd McFarlane. And again, I could be wrong. You guys have to check my sources here, but I believe it was Todd McFarlane who convinced the powers that be at DC to do the first sketch cover on a Green Lantern comic, so that Marty Nodell would have something he could do for fans that was official at Comic-Cons. And I say official because, I'm drawing this sketch on a piece of paper, and there's plenty of people who want to collect sketches, and they'll pay for that. But there's a certain kind of fan, they only want something that's branded DC or Marvel or whatever it is. And so those sketch covers, they've got the DC logo, it's got the Green Lantern logo, and they could take that to Marty and have him draw on it. So that was kind of like the start of that. And now it's huge. I mean, I don't know, it kind of goes in popularity up and down, but all in all, I would say the sketch cover thing is pretty strong. And different companies use different qualities of paper, so some sketch on better, and some take color, and some don't. And so it's kind of its own like little subgenre within comics now, or a little mini industry of sketch covers. And I tend to have fun with them. I like a lot of things, I try to keep it loose and fun. But there's some collectors that they'll pay probably thousands of dollars to get like famous comic book artists to do like really, really elaborate sketches for them. So it's kind of open to all kinds of collectors, which is another reason I think it's been successful, is that there's not just one kind of thing you can do with it. It's adaptable, because it's just a blank cover. It could be something like a cartoon, and it could be all the way up to like a full painting or something, which makes it very, very unique. Evan says, I had a bad experience meeting a guy I looked up to. He was the whole reason I became an artist. All he wanted was for me to buy a commission from him. Didn't even care. He inspired me to be an artist. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Evan. I'm certainly not taking that person's side. I will just say that if it was like a Comic-Con event or something like that, I know from personal experience that sometimes you're so freaked out by the money it takes to be at those places, or your struggle to survive as an artist, that you can fall into that trap of focusing on the transaction instead of focusing on the person. And I like to think that I'm better than that, but I know I've done it too. I know I've fallen into that trap. And it's hard. You have to remind yourself that relationships are not transactional. Relationships take work, and you have to actually, it's a two-way street. You have to listen to that other person, and I know what a challenge it can be. So it's a shame. It's a real shame that happened to you. I've had good and bad experiences myself with that kind of stuff. Definitely. They always say never meet your heroes or your idols or whatever, and I've definitely been on both sides of that. I've been on, I've met people who are incredible and awesome, and I've met people who are real jerks in person, and maybe they're not real jerks in real life, but in that public setting where I met them, they were a jerk, and it's unfortunate for sure. Unfortunate and kind of sad, I won't name any names, obviously, but like even artists that I've worked with, I might meet them for the first time at a convention and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm Brian. I colored this one issue, this thing that you and I worked on together, and that was a lot of fun. And I just want to come over and say hi." And normally, like two professionals treat each other a certain way, and this one particular artist was like, "Yeah, here's my sketchbook. It's $35." And that was like all he had to say. And I was really heartbroken because I really admired and respected this particular artist. And, you just have to realize that that's just how some people are, I guess. I don't know. It's just a sad reality sometimes, All right, still picking a few of these little like shadow areas out here. Quinchpress says, I've been pretty lucky with celebs and artists I've met. I think the only letdowns were people I've traded some nice private messages with, and then I meet them in person and they're nowhere near as friendly as they were in the private messages. Yeah, I can see that too. I can see both sides of that, and it is disappointing. Monique says, that's what I thought, that you could get them sketched, but I wasn't sure if I'd ruin it by having someone sketch on it. No, definitely. Like that's why they exist. So yeah, definitely. Get your sketch on, Monique. No, that's what they're there for. And it's nice because then you end up with like an official comic, but with some artwork by someone who you like, whether they're connected to that comic or not, right? Like you could like an artist. Let's just use Joe Caroni, for example. He's known for his Star Wars work, but he's done other things. And, like when the G.I. Joe movies and stuff would come out, he would do he and I would both do official covers for G.I. Joe. But just because he's not working for G.I. Joe right now doesn't mean you couldn't get like a G.I. Joe sketch cover and then have Joe do some like totally like badass version of one of the characters or something, So that's one of the cool things about those. And you still have it's an official piece of G.I. Joe merchandise, but it's also a Joe Caroni original. So, I think there's a lot of really cool value in those as both a collector and as an artist, because it gives you some power, like creative power, to be like, I want to see this artist do this thing or do their version of this thing or whatever it is. And even if the publisher never thought of it, you can get in there and have it done, which is kind of cool. It's really powerful if you think about it. Monique says, way back in August, I pre-ordered something that finally came yesterday. And then Monique put a link. My latest comic acquisition. Oh, she got the Berserker comic with the blank sketch cover. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now you have to decide who's going to do the sketch. Evan says, I've been seeing a lot of this. What are the nifties? Nifties or NFTs? Oh, well, Quinchpress is answering there. He's like evil and kind of dumb. It's like Bitcoin cryptocurrency-based artwork, yeah. Everything Quinch is saying is true. I'll just say from like the artist perspective, it's been around for a while. The values were pretty low to start with, and then a couple of high-profile artists you probably heard about, made some like $1 million plus sales. Obviously, that kind of attention brings out lawyers and Wall Street, and everyone else gets involved. And so, of course, now like Marvel and DC and Warner Brothers and all those companies have put out their official statements basically telling artists, if you use our property, we're going to come get you. So they put a pretty quick stop to that. Not that it's not happening on like an underground level, but, you know, the official Marvel and DC artists are on notice for sure about doing that kind of stuff. And most of the little mini galleries that were running those things have been threatened. And so they've stopped doing it as well. But that said, you know, the values on Nifties are down like 70% right now over what they were when they were first launching. So, you know, is there a long-term viable art market there? I'm not sure. I think it depends on who the players are. And right now, you know, we haven't seen any of the big galleries or auction houses really enter that space yet. You know, like a Sotheby's or a MoMA or something. And obviously they don't have to be there. I mean, you know, some other new entity could come out and rule that space, but without that sort of like stability, that guiding hand, I think the values are going to be really volatile for a while. Obviously, you know, all the big companies, they're trying to figure out how to get their beaks wet on that stuff too. And when they enter that market, maybe they'll be the ones to stabilize it. I'm probably being cynical as an artist, but my guess would be is that, you know, like most of these things, the corporations will get wealthy off of it and the artist will not. So there's a few artists who are, you know, making theirs while they can because they're not stupid either. They know that there's a limited time window before, you know, it just becomes a commodity like every other digital asset, or it gets regulated or gets shut down. So, and Quinch Press is not wrong. The environmental impact of all that stuff is really, really sickening. There's been some studies about cryptocurrency and NFTs and stuff just showing the amount of natural resources that it takes to do the virtual mining of that stuff is just almost incomprehensible and non-justifiable, non-defensible. All things to think about, I guess. Monique posted a couple more links up. Oh, that one says it doesn't exist. Oh, here's the second. Oh, the MODOK. Nice. And the MODOK comics are signed by Patton Oswalt and Jordan Blum. That's awesome. Those are so cool. So cool, Monique. You're doing really good on the collectibles there. Really nice. Monique's like, those freaking TikTokers and their dumb cranberry juice original files. That's pretty funny. All right. Oh yeah, we got to do some gray on the helmet. Like, what am I forgetting here? The helmet. And I'm not going to do gray on the gold shoulder pads. And I bet a couple of you who've been around here a while will know why, but I'll just do like a darker, like golden brown or something on this. But no, the Patton Oswalt, that's pretty cool. I've seen him live a few times. And I find him to be hilarious live. I also like the way he deals with hecklers. I think he's pretty savvy about that. Which is always kind of fun to watch, you know. He definitely doesn't put up with a lot. Which is kind of cool. Monique says, see if it shows now. Oh yeah, there we go. The Berserker #1 with the full color cover. Yeah, wow, that looks really cool. So what do you think? Do you think that they'll end up doing like a movie from that eventually? Because I think Keanu's already said that he would be interested in doing it. You think that'd be just all they need to move forward, was just him saying, like, we should do this. But obviously the world doesn't work that way. It's kind of weird to think that there's like people that you and I would think of as celebrities that are essentially like powerless in Hollywood. You know, they don't have any juice, so to speak. Like, I was reading a thing about Christina Ricci and how Hollywood's kind of pretty much turned their back on her and stuff. And you think about, you know, kind of how prolific her career seems like it should have been, or, you know, with some of the movies that she's made. But Hollywood's so fickle, like, they're just like, yeah, we're done with you. Seems kind of strange. Seems kind of weird. Monique says, yes, they are doing the movie. Evan's like, wow, Keanu's writing comics. Monique says, from what I heard, he wants to do it and may even pay for it. Oh, cool. Oh, I know, Monique. I saw that MODOK got autocorrected. That happened to me the other day. I was writing someone whose name was Frank, and I noticed on the response that instead of Frank, it just said free. So I was like, hey, free, how's it going? It's like, no, my name's Frank. I'm like, yeah, I know who you are, but autocorrect does not know who you are. Which is also very frustrating. So what do you guys think about this, like, warrior version of Boba Fett? I kind of dig it. It's not my creation. The person who hired me to do the commission supplied like photos and stuff of this model, but I thought it was really cool. That's really, really unique interpretation on the character. One that I dig for sure. Monique says, it looks great. Oh, thanks, Monique. Well, I'm having fun with it. I hope it shows. I hope that it comes through just how much I'm enjoying this. I know I'm not the most animated person on the planet, but I am definitely having fun with this one. And next week we've got an Obi-Wan. It's going to be a special Obi-Wan. It's well, I'll just say it's based on a young Obi-Wan is all I will say. And then you can let your imagination run wild for a while. All right, let's go just a little darker on some of these areas. So looking a little light. Just so we can have some good contrast as we start to add some color on here. That should help. All right, what did I miss? I think that's pretty good. Monique says, I kind of thought they were for sketching on, and I asked myself, what would you want done on it, and would you want Joe or Brian? Well, I think it depends on what the project is. I mean, like, I'm the first to admit, like, if you want a likeness of Keanu Reeves, you got to go Joe Caroni all the way. I mean, Joe is the king of likenesses, and I think we all know that. I mean, that's his, it's his specialty, but it's also his bread and butter. It's like, it's why people hire him. So, if you want that Keanu likeness, it's got to be Caroni. If you want something that's either more designy or left of center or something, that's more me. But I would immediately be like, oh my God, Joe could do such a cool version of that probably. You guys probably can't see that, but I am standing. And it says, I get on camera there, time to stand. Annoys me to no end. Fix your shit, Apple. I'll get to like 8 o'clock at night. And it'll be like, you need to stand the next 4 hours to get all your standing in for the day. Like, I'm standing. I'm at a standing desk. I'm never not standing. Monique says, like, I'm so random, I probably want to do something completely off the wall, like Ted Theodore Logan done up, all crazy John Wick. That would be cool. That would be really cool. Like I said, we all know if it's like a real person's likeness, it's just a no-brainer. You just go, hey Joe, how much do I need to pay you to do this? And you know it'll be worth it, because I mean, I can only think of a few artists off the top of my head who fit that category. You know, Joe Croney, Mark Ratz, Drew Struzan. You know, those are all people who can like really, you know, not just have a likeness that's okay or that's pretty good, but a likeness that is just like bang on. All right, I'm going to try to mix up a weird, funky gold brown kind of color here to do the shadow areas of Boba's like gold armor. And I think then we'll finally be ready to just start laying a lot of color onto this. Oh, hey, Evan, thanks for hanging out. I hope you and your wife have a fantastic time. And we'll see you guys next week. Now, for everyone else, I expect to see you Saturday for our Tiki Tuesday weekend edition. Live with Quinch Press starting around 6:30 Arizona time Saturday. So get your rum ready, and we'll be making cocktails. Quinch Press, redeem to hydrate. Thank you, Quinch. Cheers to you. Quinch says, that's not okay. You need to let Apple know that you won't stand for it. Wah! Monique's like, what a dad joke. Quinch Press says, enjoy your 3-hour tour, Evan. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Well, that's nice that he's being supportive of his wife and her fandom as well. I think that's probably the sign of a healthy relationship. And I see we've got quite a few viewers today, so I just want to take a second to say thank you to everybody. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, thanks for being here. I know some of you are listening or watching from a place where you can't jump in the chat and join us. We're still glad to have you here. And but if you are in a place where you can be on the chat, feel free to hop on. We're friendly. I don't think that Quinch Press or Monique will bite anybody. We welcome you here. Everybody's welcome here. I mean, as long as you're cool. If you're not welcome here, we will tell you that you're not welcome here. But for the most part, everybody's welcome. So thanks for hanging out. Hope you're having fun with Boba Fett. I know I am. I'm just going to work in a few little shadows into his gold areas here. And maybe his braid. And then we'll start laying in some of the different colors and things and making some more progress. But I like this version of Boba Fett. I think it's really cool. And I appreciate the commission. I get really excited when I get a chance to do something new and unusual like this. It's just outside the ordinary, which I think always makes it a little fun and exciting. And I've been having a real blast doing more and more of the like full color commissions for you guys. So thank you for your support. You know, I just love doing this artwork, and I've been creating art my whole life. And when the pandemic happened, I thought, boy, you know, my life is over. I'm going to be out of work, and you guys are the reason that I'm here. So thank you so much. And I'm passionate about my art, and I'm so thrilled to see that you guys are too. Quinch Press says, I was in a biting mood, but I'll restrain myself now that you said that. And Miss Daft Prawn jumps on and says, hey, Brian, you're doing my commission next week, so I'm here to watch your work today. Good to see you, Amy. Thanks for joining us. I was just talking about that next week we'll be doing a really cool Obi-Wan. So it's going to be a version of young Obi-Wan. But instead of Ewan, it's going to be Amy's guy who does cosplay. I didn't remember if it was husband or boyfriend Amy, so I didn't want to say, but looking forward to that one. Should be a lot of fun. I always love the Jedi robes. They're so cool to do. I got to say, that's the one costume I wish I had, was like a really nice Jedi costume. I made a pretty nice Fifth Doctor Who costume years ago, and always had fun cosplaying at cons I was attending and stuff. And then the cons got more and more complicated, and I sort of fell out of being a pro who also cosplays. But yeah, I would do Jedi robes. I think that would be cool. I know in when we did Star Wars Celebration in the UK, I did I don't know, I guess you would call it like a dapper version of a Jedi. I did my suit and my vest and my bow tie all in like the Jedi brown colors, and that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that. Ms. Daft Prawn says, it's my husband. Okay, good to know. I didn't want to get that wrong. There's a couple I know through Star Wars, and I mean, I've known them for years. You know, they come to every convention, and they were like super nice. And I was, you know, one year even picked me up from the airport. And I've just always known them as a couple. And one time I said something like, blah, 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 your wife's this. He's like, girlfriend. And I was like, oh, sorry. Okay. I had no idea. My mistake. I was like really defensive about it. I was like, okay, well, you can always count on me to say the wrong thing. And that's exactly what happened. So now I try to be a little bit more aware and respectful of stuff like that, because you never know how people are going to react. It was just so fun to see. He's just like, girlfriend. Mrs. Daft Prawn says, we found a seamstress on Etsy, if I'm allowed to say that. Yes, you are. And she did a fantastic job. Excellent. He upgraded the fabric on the trousers and the cape, and she was totally fine with doing that. Wow, that's really cool. I know, I don't know, like, is your husband in, like, the Rebel Legion or one of the clubs where he does his cosplay? Or is it just sort of for himself? I have some friends that are in the, or some collectors, I guess I should say, that are in the Imperial Officers cosplay group. And they're so nice, and they always invite me to events and stuff that they throw. But they do one cocktail party at every celebration where you have to be in costume. They will not let you in. And of course, I don't have an officer's cosplay, and they're like, well, you should do it. And I was like, well, you know, I think that would be fun. I could consider that. But they're all like, you know, but you got to plan like 2 years in advance, you know, because the people that, like you said, like on Etsy and stuff that make the gear, you know, they're so in demand. And I think the average person doesn't have a concept of how big these costume clubs are, and, you know, that there's wait list for some of this stuff. And, you know, people that make their own can spend years sourcing just the right things, and people who pay to have them made can wait years, or at least be on a waiting list to get their costumes done. So I don't think the average person really has any kind of like idea of all that goes into this stuff. They just think it's like Halloween time, like, oh, you just threw something together. I'm like, no. There's like standards. You got to get approved. All kinds of stuff. I mean, I guess why would the average person know? They think we're crazy enough for our fandoms anyway. They're like, oh my gosh, why would you spend money to go to a Comic-Con? And then they're like, well, what are you doing? They're like, well, my goal is to go to the Super Bowl someday. And you're like, oh, well, San Diego Comic-Con's bigger than the Super Bowl, so whatever. Monique says, your colors on this are amazing. Oh, thank you, Monique. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Well, when I first started doing the commissions, I guess a year ago now, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do any color. It's too time consuming. And then I don't remember at what point last year I started taking on a few color commissions, but it's been fun. I've got a lot more comfortable with, drawing and painting in real time and in front of people, as it were, which was always a weak spot for me. I'd always do all my stuff, on my own time, away from people. And I mean, you guys remember, I could barely speak and draw at the same time this time last year. So it's been a fun growth process, hanging out with all of you and getting comfortable with all this process, getting to know everybody. I mean, it's so weird, like people that I would see 2 or 3 times a year, I see some of you on here 2 or 3 times a week now, so it's really cool. It's also funny to think that when the pandemic started, we thought this might only go on for a few weeks. We're like, okay, well, I'll stream for like a month. And now it's been a year. See if I can lighten this yellow up a little bit for some highlights. Nice and thin. Monique says, my husband makes his own reenactment clothing and they have extremely strict authenticity rules. I made my own skirts, but bought the rest from people who sew better and more quickly than I ever could. If I wasn't a full-time artist, I probably would be really much more into cosplay, and I probably would make my own because I took home ec in high school, and I'm from a really small town, so like your choices were, you were either in band or you had to take 4 electives. And the only way I could get an art class was if I did home ec, art, wood shop, and choir. So that's the 4 electives. So it's the only way you could get an art class in my little town. And so, but I loved home ec. I loved to sew. Didn't enjoy the cooking part, but I really loved to sew. And I was in theater and stuff, so I would like make my own costumes and make clothes and stuff, and it was really fun. And I'm sure if my lifestyle allowed, I would get back into that in a big way. I would be one of those people that have like the costume room, and always have some costume for sale because they've made so many that they have to get rid of them and stuff. I definitely know cosplayers like that. Mrs. Daft Prawn says, my husband's costume probably wouldn't meet the reenactment standards, but for cosplay, he loves it. Yeah, I am. It's weird, right? Like some of the clubs, like First Legion and stuff, where you have to, like, have everything be screen accurate, I guess is the right word for that. It is sort of funny because some of these costumes are better, better than what was used on screen, which I find kind of entertaining in a way. And I have friends that are in the 501st who, gosh, what all the work they put into that, but they'll get opportunities to be on like the red carpet. Some of them have been on The Mandalorian in the background as troopers and stuff. So, sometimes your passion can can come back and reward you in ways you may have never originally imagined. So anything is possible. All right, you guys know me. When I get quiet, it's because I'm concentrating, trying to get this thin little line here. I'm so blind, so blind. There we go. That looks much better. Much better than it did. Just a couple little more details on this gold armor, and then we'll be ready to move to the next color. Well, I'm glad that he enjoys his costume. I think everybody who's into it should be able to just relax and enjoy it, and have fun with their fandom. It should bring you joy. I think too many people get bent out of shape by their fandoms and stuff, And that's really any kind of club, right? It doesn't have to be Star Wars. It's like all kinds of stuff. Where people have been doing it for ages. And they're like, oh, the new people just don't get it. And you're like, well, the new people are still trying to have fun, and you might have gone a little crazy the other direction. All right, let's just do one more kind of shadow wash on some of this, just to get a little bit deeper values in here. Build up some of these shadow areas. Just like to do like light glazes. That way details kind of build up in a little bit more of a natural way. I can always go in and add more detail as needed, which is the nice part. Mrs. Daft Prawn says he wears it to give out candy on Halloween. Obviously wore it to Celebration. Which celebrations has he or you guys together been to? Yeah, and if I had one, I would totally wear it on Halloween. If I like it, because I've got quite a few lightsabers, so if I had a Jedi outfit, that would be like icing on the cake. And if I was really into costuming, oh my gosh, it would be a sickness for me, because every time some film with cool costumes comes out, I want to do that for Halloween. Like when Sweeney Todd came out, I was like, that's what I want to be for Halloween. And then, the next year it's something different. And so it's just like a never-ending cycle or sickness of like, that's cool, I want to emulate that. These gold areas are getting pretty close to done. Now, once the paint's dry, I always go back over everything with a little colored pencil and like do touch-ups and stuff as needed, but can't really do that until the paint's like 100% dry. So that usually happens after the fact, but we get as much as we can there in the paint. Kind of keep it fluid if we can. There we go. It's looking pretty cool. You know who we haven't seen here in a while is Les Dudas. I'm a little worried about Les Dudas. I wonder if he's taken like a month off from social media or something. Because he doesn't usually miss this many streams, Seems a little odd. Monique says, my husband had an opportunity to be in The Patriot with Mel Gibson, but he couldn't take 3 months off work. Several of our reenacting friends went to, and one of our horsemen had a big part in leading the troops. We reenact the Brits though, so the Americans hate us. We're pretty popular in Canada. That's funny. Monique says the hubby did end up on the cover of PBS Liberty, though. Oh, that's really cool, man. Oh, that's so cool. I love to hear stories like that. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let me try to keep the palette as much on screen as I can, but we're gonna mix up some green values here. Start getting our Fett green worked out. Might even mix in a little bit of this yellow that we already had going. We'll see how it goes. Because sometimes these greens can be a little much. Now I want this one to stay kind of a blue green, but we can still tone it down just a little bit here. We'll probably go with the really, yeah, we definitely want to tone that down some. Mute it a little bit. So you guys know I change my paints depending on the sketch. So today I'm using the acrylics. Sometimes I use the gouache. So no real rhyme or reason other than I knew with this one I'd want to put down a bunch of black first. And with the gouache, the black would reactivate. So with the acrylics today, I could do like the black and acrylic and then do the colors in gouache. That would work too, but it seemed like the way to go. And then I'll throw some colored pencil on it. So it all kind of ends up being like mixed media at the end when it's all done anyway. All right, I think we're getting kind of close here. Might need to throw just a hint of black in there so it's not quite so bright. Just kind of kill the saturation a little bit. Hopefully that'll get us to, yeah, that's going to work out just fine. That'll be pretty nice. Always got to have the extra sheet to test the colors, right? Okay. Mrs. Daft Prawn says, wow, he must be amazing at sewing. Yeah, right? Says, oh, I'm having connection problems. Sorry, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I'm definitely envious and supportive of people who can sew really well because I know it's a skill. When I did the Doctor Who cosplay, one of Christy's friends, I hate to call her seamstress because she does so many things, but one of her companies was to do like wedding gowns and stuff like that, and so I bought the fabric that was as close as match as I could find for the Fifth Doctor's pants, and then she sewed them up for me. And I was so thankful because it was such a better job than I could have done. I mean, I would have probably just done like an elastic waistband or something, and she did like the full button and zipper and the whole deal, and they're really nice. All right, so just going to put on the first wash of light green, and I'm going to keep it pretty light, and then we'll build it up. All right? I want there to be a lot of dynamic shading and contrast on the green areas, so if I start out really pale, that'll give us a lot of room to add value to that. And sure, it takes a little bit more time, but it'll be worth it. I think we're still doing pretty good on time, right? Oh yeah, we're just like an hour and 13 in, so we've got about 45 minutes left today. So we'll get this one pretty far along, I bet. So that'll be good. Do we lose Quinch? Or is he out looking for Let's Do This? I'm a little worried. We haven't seen or heard anything out of Let's Do This in a while. We have to track him down. Make sure he's okay. Last time he disappeared for a while, I sent him a private message and he finally wrote back. He's like, yeah, I'm just taking a break from internet. And I was like, oh, well, I was worried. I'm like, I'm over here worried and you're just taking a break, man. All right, just Just trying to just kind of get like a really light, wet coat on this. Oh, Quinch is like, I'm here. Well, good. I'm glad you're here, Quinch. I thought maybe you had disappeared on us or something. I just want to remind everybody, thanks again for watching. I'm Brian Miller. If you don't know me, I'm an artist for Star Wars and for a lot of Fox movies and The Simpsons and all kinds of fun stuff. So thanks for tuning in today. You can find my website at octopolis.com. We appreciate you being here. My social media is Octopolis. So if you want to see the finished version of this when it's done, it'll be posted up there. And thanks for watching today. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Thanks for making my stream part of your Thursday afternoon, or whatever time it is where you are. It's good to see you. Oh, and Quinch put up the all my social links on chat. Thank you, Quinch Press. Oh, Monique put a link. This must be the PBS thing. There we go. So which one of those fine young men on the box cover? Oh, you put the arrow there. I see it. Wow. How prominent, like front and center. That's awesome. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Monique. That's amazing. Monique's like, of course it's VHS, lol. And then she's like, ooh, that mint green is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, thanks for that. The mint part's funny, but yeah, I mean, I'll be layering more color onto it, so it'll, as we get to the shadows, it'll get more and more green. But yeah, to start with, I think this is make a good base. It does kind of look like mint chip though, doesn't it? Makes me hungry for ice cream. I rarely let myself have ice cream anymore, but when I do, that's one of my favorites. I crave mint chip. All right, so let that dry for a second. I think while we're letting that one dry, let's start to think about some red values. We could probably do a light, like a maroon kind of red. Yeah. Get that started. Almost for this like warrior version, almost want like a brownish kind of red, like a rust red versus like a really, really true red. So something in that kind of area, I think. Do our test. Yeah, that's not bad. Monique says that photo was on the cover for part 1 of the series and also used across the spine. Wow, that is really, really cool. Well, A, good for him, and B, good for PBS to work with people who can do, that good of a job. That's really impressive. All right, just gonna rough this in. This will be good. We'll get a few of these colors roughed in, and then I can just start layering like detail upon detail here. These reds can be tricky though. You don't want to go too light with the base color because then it just looks pink. I mean, it could be cool, like a pink Boba Fett would be cool, but that's not the version this one is, I guess. So we'll keep this one to the reds and the greens. I know there's Barbie Fett on Instagram. I think she has like a pinkish kind of costume. think I got a picture when she visited us at Celebration one year. Somewhere. That's what's important to say, is that, you know, when you're at Celebration and you meet artists like Joe and I, we are fans too. We're fans of Star Wars, and we grew up with it, and we're there because we love Star Wars first and foremost. And so, you know, when you've got your cosplay on, we're excited about it too. We want to see it. We want to hang out with you guys and get pictures and stuff. And I think you start to get a feeling for, you know, which people are really, really into Star Wars and are also fans, and, you know, maybe there are some there that are not. Because, you know, if it was like just another gig, there's so many other things that you could do. So why not be there because you love it? Ash Corbin says there is a breast cancer Fett as well. Oh, okay. I thought I knew the Fett. I must have missed that one. A friend of mine introduced me to the Pink Wookiee, and now I see him all over online at different cons and stuff. And he's got quite a growing posse. There's the Pink Wookiee and the Pink Tusken Raider now. Oh, I forget. There's a couple of them. There's a group of them. But it's been really fun to meet all those kind of variant cosplay people and see what they're doing. So cool and original and unique, you know. Monique says, I had my... Oh, hey, Ash Corbin, while you're on here, someone saw the sketch that I did for you. And oh, yeah, Pink Han Solo, that's right. Someone saw the sketch that I did for you and wanted me to do something similar for them. And I told them I wouldn't do an exact duplicate, but I might like change it up a little bit and do something for them. But, you know, let me know if you're okay with that. Monique says, I had my vampire gown made by a friend. I debated if I could wear this to a con or not. It was inspired by my love of True Blood, but wasn't patterned after any specific character. My biggest fear is someone saying, who are you supposed to be, since it's not an actual cosplay. Yeah, I get that, but it'd be more fun to be like, I'm my own character. Oh, good. And Ash says, go for it. Thank you, Ash. Appreciate that. Yeah. I think they just really liked, you know, that idea and that concept. So I'll probably try to make a different angle or point of view or change up the background or something. Okay, let's move on to our next shade of green here. See how that's looking. Yeah, that's pretty good, but let's just... I'm probably being too picky on these colors today, guys. Sorry. Just trying to get it. There we go. Trying to get it to look nice. Oh, Ash, that's nice. I won't do that, but thank you for that. That was very kind. I mean, mostly because I think that Disney would be upset, but no, that's very kind of you. Thanks. All right, yeah, this will work. So just start to work in a little bit of a darker green. I think we'll just keep building it up. Might take 2 or 3 levels of green here, but it should be worth it when we're done. Just to get some of the shape and the detail here. Just trying to get this one looking pretty nice in the time we have left. See what we can get done. Yeah, I think it's going to take like maybe 3 washes of green. We'll do light, medium, and dark, and that should get us where we need to be here today. Whereas the red might only take 2. But like I said, you can't really get a super light red because it just looks like it's pink anyway. But yeah, I forgot about the pink Han Solo. That was a good one. That's a really good one. I like all those guys. Always seem to be having a good time at all the cons and just seem to have the right attitude, you know. Not taking themselves overly seriously. Having fun with the fans. Never too busy to stop for a photo, like that kind of stuff, you know. I remember I felt really bad at San Diego one year. There was some people doing like really good of the new She-Ra cosplay. And they were outside the convention hall, and I walked up and said, "Oh, hey, sorry, I love your costumes. Is it okay if I get a picture?" And they're like, "No, we are outside of the convention hall, and you will not take our photo." I'm like, "Okay, fine. I was complimenting you. I'm sorry, you know." So you just never know. Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for that. So yeah, it's always funny. You never know. But luckily, the one cosplaying Catra ended up being really cool, and we kind of friended each other up on social, and so it all worked out good. But you just got to remember, like, you don't know what people are going through when they're at those cons, and they maybe had a long day, and they might just be done with it. Or maybe they've been harassed, and the person right before you was a total jerk. You know, you never know. But yeah, I see we got quite a few new people tuning in. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Brian Miller. I'm an artist for Star Wars and Archer and The Simpsons and all kinds of fun stuff, DC Comics. So I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Working on this really cool, I call him the Shogun Warrior style Boba Fett. I know that's not his real name, but I think it's fun to call him that. So just working on painting in some of the colors on him now. And we've got a little over half an hour left in this stream, so we'll see how far we can get on him today. And then we'll be back Saturday night at about 6:30 p.m. Arizona time with our Tiki Tuesday weekend edition stream. It's be the first one of those. We're going to have our guest Quench Press will be making cocktails and sharing cocktail information with you and mixology, all kinds of good tiki drinks and stuff. So you want to tune in for that. And then of course we'll have Tiki Tuesday on Tuesday night, and I'll be back next Thursday doing Obi-Wan for Mrs. Daft Prawn. So lots of good stuff coming up here on this channel, and we really appreciate you tuning in. So thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Hope you're having a great week. Feel free to hop in the chat if you're on Twitch. Let us know what you're up to. Let me know what Star Wars character you want to see me draw next, or maybe if it's not Star Wars, something else. I do a lot of cartoon commissions too, so whatever your favorite is, let me know. Always interested to hear what it is that you like to see. Monique says, I'm trying to find the picture, but I have tons of pics on my phone. Yeah, boy, I hear that. And especially some of the apps, like Instagram seems to change the way, at least on the iPhone, the photo access works. And it's like if I'm posting one way, I can find the photo I'm looking for, but if I'm posting like a story, I can't, and it's just so annoying sometimes. All right, just building up some of these green values here, working on some light and some shadow. Try to give Boba Fett a little bit more dimension, a little bit more depth. make him look pretty cool, because we're all about that. I like to build it up just a little bit at a time. We can kind of see the progress that way, which is nice. All right, while we let that green dry, we'll switch back to our red, I think, for a little bit. See if we can get like a little deeper, darker version of this red going. Like I said before, I really want it to be almost like a warm kind of brown red. So maybe not quite rust, but like still red, but really dark. So there we go. But also I'm trying to stay away from like the purple values, because it's too easy to let these reds go like pink and purple, and then it doesn't really look like Boba Fett anymore. All right, let's see how that's going to work. Hopefully pretty well. Yeah, I think that should work okay. All right, so just start to work in just a little bit more these like darker values. Just let it build up a little bit. And I try to keep the color palette on the screen. I know a lot of you have said you like to watch me mix the colors. So if I happen to get it off screen, just say something in the chat and I'll make sure it gets moved back over. And I'm standing here like trying to see things, so I know I kind of go in and off cam, but I get some really crazy glare off the lights sometimes, so I kind of have to move myself around a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, this value is going to work pretty nice. It's kind of got that warmth, kind of like a rusty red color. I think it's going to work okay. And then we'll be able to come in and just probably glaze this with just like some pure red, and should look pretty nice. Quench, while people are here, do we want to have any teasers for us for Saturday? Or are you not there yet? I know Quench is planning on talking to us about some special bottles of rum and maybe some other mixers and liqueurs. We're going to make some cocktails live. Give you some tips and tricks for making your own. And just have like a nice little cocktail party. It'll be fun. We'll hang out. We'll catch up. It'll be a good time. Quench says, not there yet. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it, Mrs. Daffron. And look forward to working on your sketch next week. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Just get some little details and stuff in here. Yeah, I really am looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. I think everybody knows Ewan McGregor's young Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters anyway, so that'll just make it even more fun and very timely with them. He's going to have his own Disney Plus series coming out. So I think there'll be a lot more interest in that character and other characters that are sort of like from the prequel universe, I mean, they say time heals all wounds. It's crazy how many people are, they'll either be really interested in the prequels or maybe they never saw them to begin with, and they'll get into them now just because of that. So all right, let that red dry a little bit. Hey, starting to have some shape and form, right? We can really start to see some depth of form happening here on Boba Fett. Still have all this like grays and browns to do, but I'm gonna just keep focused on the greens for now. Try to get a lot of good shading and depth and everything out of those. All right, let's see if we're really, really ready for the dark green yet. Let's find out how dark is dark. Yeah, it's pretty dark. All right. Yeah, I think it's time to go for it. We'll just get in here, just start to work some of these darker green values in here. And we can always do a little bit of blending as we need to. There we go. It's looking pretty good. No pressure, Quinch. I was just checking in with you, really. Just see how, just in case you had anything you wanted to share. The nice thing is this is about the point we really start to see a lot of like implied detail. See the characters start to come to life a little bit. Just bringing out some of these little, just some of the little areas where we want to see a little bit more definition. Yeah, there we go. Monique's like, if I wasn't looking for it, it'd be right there. Boy, isn't that the truth, Monique? Isn't that the truth? Always the way. When you're looking for something else, like that photo you're looking for now is the one that's like jumping out at you and in the way, and you're like, that one again? No. But then when you want to share that one with somebody, that's the one that you can never find. It happens to me all the time. Especially if I've saved some like pictures of artwork or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have that, and then I can never find it. Never ever. All right, there we go. Starting to look a little more menacing. Let's just hit this edge. There we go. That'll help. Just help his helmet stand off of his collarbone a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. Well, Monique, I hope you find it. No pressure. You got at least 20 minutes left. You guys are pretty quiet out there today. You have to let me know. Are you quiet because you had a hard week? Or because you're like Evan and you're plotting your escape? Right? Evan told us they're going away for the weekend. That sounds like a good time, right? Monique's like, I found it. Aha. Excellent. Aha. I think like one person out there will get that. Yeah, now you can really see the form of his armor starting to take shape. Kind of like just the more shading we add, the nicer it'll look. Just takes time to build it all up. And I try not to be too tight and uptight when I'm painting too. Like I want it to really just be loose and flow. I kind of feel like it comes through in the artwork a little bit better that way. You can just like let the paint kind of do its thing. Not try to be too controlling. Well, Monique says she found it, but she hasn't posted anything yet, so we'll see. We'll see if she does. Or I should say when she does. We'll see when she does. There we go. Monique says, quiet because I was looking for this. I had this dress made. Oh, got too many things going here. I had this dress made as a kind of crossover. I can do my vampire thing, my True Blood vampire thing in it. Or my charmed witchy thing. This is me at a Halloween wine tasting. Excellent. And she shared a photo. Oh my gosh, that's such a cool dress. That's amazing. Wow, I really dig that. It reminds me a little bit of a TV character from Kansas City, Missouri, where I grew up, called Comission Mortem. And she was sort of like our local version of like an Elvira kind of character. And I don't know if hers had yellow in it or not, but it definitely was a similar idea to that. And she was kind of like our horror movie host when I was growing up in Kansas City. Comission Mortem. And then, ironically, once that sort of horror movie host thing went away, she became like a news personality. Maybe she was the whole time, I don't know, as a kid, but when I got older, one of my first jobs out of college was at an ad agency. And I had to go down to that TV studio to set up some editing studio time for an ad. And we're there in the newsroom, and in walks Comission Mortem, only it was the news anchor. She wasn't dressed up like Comission Mortem. And so I kind of like pulled her aside and asked, and she's like, yeah, but nobody knows about that anymore. I was like, hey, that's cool. I just want to make sure it was really you. So it was kind of neat to get to just briefly meet her for a second. this is coming along. Getting the armor looking pretty good here. Working that out. Give me just a second, Quench, and I'll read yours. Trying to blend out some of this paint a little bit on this green. All right, not too bad. Quench Press says, Quench says, I did place a total wine order last night to get a few things for Saturday. Today's delivery will have allspice dram and Grand Imperial orange liqueur that we'll definitely be using for our Saturday live stream. Also some creme de violet, Empress gin, Peychaud's bitters, creme de violet and Empress gin are for a cocktail I'm making for the Phoenix Synth Band Violet Choir. Awesome. That sounds amazing. I'm glad to hear you're doing cocktails for musicians and stuff too, because that seems like it's right up your alley, to say the least. So good for you. Now, when you say they're a synth band, are we talking like new wave 80s synth or something more modern EDM, or like, I guess what I'm saying is like, am I an old man? Would I recognize their music or not? All right, we'll let Monique be the judge of how these greens are turning out because she knows about these things. Quinch says they're more 80s new wave-ish. Oh, cool. Well, that sounds right up my alley. I definitely dig that. I like the sound of that. All right, let's do, in our final minutes here, let's just do some plain red. And then we'll see if we have time for anything else or not. So I just want to take a minute to thank everybody for watching today. Don't forget to follow this channel. And if you feel like it, go ahead and subscribe. We are giving away some Cobra Kai artwork it's going to be a drawing to anyone who is either a Twitch subscriber or a Patreon member. So join us on one or both of those platforms and you will be entered to win. So if you haven't joined already, please consider doing so, because I want to give you free stuff. That's my goal in life. So I hope you win the contest. And of course, we have other contests off and on, so there's always something going on. All right, just doing a wash red just to kind of beef up the color on some of this a little bit. You know, sometimes when painting, it can take a couple of coats of color to get the sort of like richness that you want out of things. I mean, you can start with like a really, really deep and bright coat, but be a little more challenging to build up the lights and shadows that way. So I just like to build it up a little bit of a time. Monique says, I always wanted to wear it to a con, but not sure anyone would consider it legit. Jeff wears replica 1920 stuff on Sundays and even has new old stock glasses frames with his prescription put in it, but he's not like Capone or G-Man or Prohibition. He just gets in because of the Boardwalk Empire. Or gets into it because of the Boardwalk Empire. Nice. And Monique shared another photo. Oh man, that's a good one, Monique. You've shared a couple of him before, but that's a really, really nice one. Quinch says they have another band called March, which is just a husband and wife duo. Violet Choir is a recent project where they have some guests playing with them. And he put in a link. Oh, that's a video. I'll have to watch that later. And Monique's like, Creme de Violet, yay! Yeah, that's right. I forgot that's one of your go-tos there, Monique. All right, just... Can you believe it, how much we've done on this already? Starting to look pretty cool. All right, I know we've got Boba's Gray. Let's see if we can do something with that a little bit. We can get it really light, maybe. Well, that's not too bad. Let's start with that. Monique says, I created a monster when I had that hat made for him. The hat is what allows him to transform into character, right, Monique? He just like, once he had the hat, it was on after that. Kind of like Jim Carrey in The Mask, only it's the hat. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The hat knows. All right, just gonna lay down a little bit of this like warm gray just to start to hint at some of the shading on Boba's gray areas here. We won't have time to fully realize that today, but we can at least get started on it. Yeah, our final minutes of today's stream. Let's see if we can get Boba looking pretty cool here. There's still a lot to be done, but we made a lot of progress. I mean, it's definitely... You know, when I started this one day, I didn't know how far we would get because this costume is so elaborate. I think we're doing pretty good. Making some good progress here. Monique says, it's an exact replica of the one Shea Wiggum wore in the Boardwalk Empire, made by the people who do all of the reproduction hats and vintage repairs for HBO. That is really cool, Monique. Was that like a surprise you had done for him? Did he know about it ahead of time? Because, I mean, that's pretty freaking amazing. Like, I think anybody would be pretty excited by something like that. I think most people would be pretty excited and pretty pleased if somebody had something like that made for her. She says it was made as a Christmas gift. Oh, well, that's very nice. Very thoughtful. You do seem like a very thoughtful person, though, Monique. Like, for all the people who feel like I seem disingenuous because of my weird sense of humor, I think everyone would agree that you seem very genuine and thoughtful. All right, let's what do we have time for here? In our final 5 minutes. I guess maybe we could do like a little wash of this brown maybe. We'll see if it'll come back to life or not. It might be too late for that. Let's try to make some fresh. This red. A little bit of red. Just a touch. Here we go. That should get us a nice kind of tan color that we can do the first wash for Boba Fett's belt here. A little intense. Here we go. Try that again. Oh, that's gonna be much better. Much better. All right. Well, that was a very nice Christmas gift then, because, like I said, I think anybody would be pretty thrilled. You know, if you've got a show like that you watch, and to be able to get some actual like costuming made by the same people who are doing it for the show, that's pretty freaking amazing. There we go, starting to get that roughed in a little bit. Just takes a little bit of time. Quinch Press says Violet Choir put out a 6-song live concert video a few weeks ago. Full band, real stage, no audience. And he's got a YouTube link there, and then also one of the March songs that he really likes. That's cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. I'll be sure to check those out. Let me save them here real quick. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Oh, thank you, Quinch. Thank you, Quinch. Yeah, we're almost there, Quinch. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Now that I mixed it with this brown, though, I'm like, well, I could do a few little things here with this brown. I know it's going to need a lot more, but it's nice. I feel like we got a lot of the color blocking done here. Clearly more detail to be done, but getting a lot of stuff worked in. So we did good today. You guys did good today. All your likes and cheers and everything helped keep me going. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. No reason to run the credits today. Well, I guess we had one follower, so we could see that. But it was broken last time, so I might wait. So let's take a look at this raid. All right, so we're at our 2 hours. So this is everything we got done on today's stream. Not sure if I'll finish this one offline or if we'll do a bonus stream, but you guys, if you're following, you'll get the alert, so you'll know. So be sure to follow. Like I said, Saturday, 6:30 Arizona time will be our Tiki Tuesday weekend edition. So do not miss that. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're getting ready to do a raid. So remember, you earn 250 channel points if you hang out with us for the raid. So it should be a lot of fun. And that's going to start in about 10 seconds. So while we wait for that, I just want to say again, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out today. It really means the world to me. You guys are the best. So stay on target.